What is going on, everybody? Star Wars Dad back for another video. Today we're going to be checking out a updated version of Jango Tarkintown. I think that this deck gets even better with the new set. Before we get into today's video, please make sure to join my Patreon as we are growing a great community of players there. And I post a new deck list almost every day for paid members, as well as giveaways and more. And please make sure to smash and like that subscribe button, as well as sign up for the 3,500 subscriber giveaway, where I will be giving away 3 Millennium Falcons to 3 lucky players. So to get into the deck list for today, so the way I would describe some of these changes is that I feel like I am exhausting an opponent's units every single turn now, as opposed to, frequently. I feel like I'm doing it just about every turn. The indirect damage is very strong, as well as using, the cards that we used originally from last set. So let's start off with the First Order Stormtrooper. This card was just a natural inclusion in here. So basically it's a 3/1 on attack if our opponent doesn't take indirect damage to one of their units. So it's putting pressure, which is what we want to do. But if they do put the indirect damage on one of their units because they don't want to take too much pressure, then that gives us an immediate Tarkintown target, which is why indirect damage is so sweet in here. I still have 2 Greedos in here. That's a maybe card at this point. I still like it at the moment because it just helps me to get those cheap units out early and squeeze them in and just kind of continue to put pressure. Greedo's when defeated ability, of course, is really good. 2 ISB agent. I might need to pump that up to 3. I have been a little more focused on a lot of the newer cards, which is why it's at 2. The 3 Daring Raid is just always a must for me when I play Tarkintown for my style of play. I think it's just way too good, especially paired with these 1 resource units on turn 1 where we can immediately Tarkintown one of their units and get an advantage. 3 Kylo's TIE Silencer to just give us that 3-powered space unit. Then one of the new cards that we have is the Sigerian Starhopper. So I had originally had it at 3, but I moved it down to 2, and I'll explain why. But its when defeated ability deals 2 indirect damage to a player, so that's really nice for when it dies. It trades favorably, or trades with a decent amount of things in the format. But the when defeated ability is really nice just to be able to put more pressure. So, we can often just activate Tarkintown. If not, at the very least, we're doing 2 damage to their base when it dies. So that's just a nice inclusion. The 2 No Good to Me Dead. I do think No Good to Me Dead is extremely important in this upcoming format. 2 in the main, 1 on the side, just to be able to exhaust those units that are extremely powerful or upgraded, or just the really powerful units if you're playing against like a ramp deck. I think that's where I'm more worried about it. 2 Sneak Attack to put pressure. Lets us do a lot of really cool things, with Elite Starfighter, with Ruthless Raider, or just cool stuff. Of course, playing 3 Surprise Strike. The Death-Based Skirmisher has been such a great inclusion to this deck because basically what it allows you to do is on any given turn you can now exhaust 2 of your opponent's units. So you use your typical Jango ability with pinging of damage between your indirect damage and just attacking in with a unit or pinging with a starfighter. And then you can, as long as you have a space unit, which is another reason why we're playing this Sigerian Starhopper, just to have that on curve a little more often, where we can play the Space Skirmisher on turn 2 and immediately exhaust our opponent's unit. It's really good for leaders to slow them down, especially if they upgrade their leaders. It's just been really awesome in here. The 3 Elite Starfighter, of course. I feel like it got even better in this set, and I'll explain why in a second. The 3 Guerrilla Soldier. This is a really sweet card. So what I really love about this card is when I play it on turn 2, they can either do indirect damage to one of their units, which is 3 indirect damage, which is a good amount of indirect damage, or they can take it to their face. If they take any of that damage to their face, then it immediately makes the Guerrilla Soldier active and ready to attack in. So if there's no units on board, then Guerrilla Soldier is getting in for 5 damage, which happens often, especially because of things like Tarkintown or trading with, one of my units for ECL, things like that. So Guerrilla Soldier has been really, really sweet. and that's why I pumped it up to 3. The indirect damage factor, of course, like if they choose to put it all on units, then we're just going to Tarkintown a unit. And if they don't, or if they put anything on the base, then we get to immediately attack it. It's also good, so that's good against aggro decks because we can really, really push the damage against them. It's also good against just decks that don't have any units at all. And then it's good late game, like in matchups where our opponents are trying to play big pieces of removal, and then we can like for example on a 6 resource turn, I can waylay the big unit that they just played, and then play the Gorilla Soldier and get in for 5 damage. So it's just been a really sweet card in this deck. It just has so much synergy in here. 2 7th Fleet Defenders, the 3 Triple Dark Raids, of course. 2 Waylays in the main. Again, I think Waylay is also going to be extremely important for dealing with those big units and just really heavily upgraded units. And 3rd copies in the side. And then one of my favorite cards is the IG-2000. This card has just been absolutely amazing in here. I mean, it's crazy that we got so many cards that make this deck even better. So what you do with this card, I mean, obviously, on the 4 resource turn, you can play it, ping 2 things. If you've already pinged something with a Daring Raid or Elite Starfighter or one of your indirect damages, then it can finish those things off. But where I really like to use this card in particular is after Jango has been deployed, that I can immediately drop this card, on the 5 resource turn or the 6 resource turn and exhaust 3 of their units at one time, which is just absolutely backbreaking if you're playing against an aggressive opponent. And a lot of times that card just wins us the game. It's a really sweet card to find with Triple Dark Raid as well, because you can just do it again the following turn, which is nuts. It's just amazing. So that's been one of the best new cards. The Geonosis, still playing 2 of those in the main. It's good for our when defeated effects of like the Stormtrooper or the Starfighter. Can also just take out an ISB agent. It's a good card to just play at 3 cost randomly to waylay something that costs 3 or less, which I think is going to be very relevant again because of how many upgrades there are, and like on those cheap space units, our opponents want to upgrade them early on, and that just allows us to like send that all back to their hand. It's just really, really sweet. And then of course we're playing the 3 Fetz Fire Spray and the 3 Ruthless Raider, which are just staples in here. And then another awesome addition is the 2 Planetary Bombardment, which again is just going to help us close the game out, just like the Ruthless Raider, the Fetz Fire Spray, the Triple Dark Raid, Gorilla Soldier, even Surprise Strike. Those are all of our closers. Planetary Bombardment obviously does 12 damage if we have a capital ship out, which would be the Ruthless Raider. So that's really sweet that it has that synergy as well. And it's just a way to just finish them off. Like, especially with all the pinging we're doing in here, a lot of times it just overflows into their base and there's nothing they can do about it. So very, very cool. In the sideboard, again, the sideboards are a complete rough draft, but a couple breaking in, the 3rd copy of No Good to Me Dead, and the 3rd copy of Waylay. A couple Wolf against decks that have Restore, Heavy, Focus. A couple of Disabling Fangfighter, that might need to be 3. And then a couple of Lurking TIE Phantom. I'm not sure if the TIE Phantom is what I need right now. I think early on in this set it's probably going to be very, very aggressive, and I'm not sure how much control we're going to be seeing. But if that's the case, then I would just kind of take those out for the time being and pump up some other things like the Disabling Fangfighters and maybe another Wolf for those Restore heavy decks. But that's kind of, again, the sideboard's a rough draft, but the main board has felt really, really strong so far in testing. This deck feels like the aggro killer. Like, I played against a bunch of aggro decks in the gameplay today, and it just felt like I was just completely in control the whole time. Like, I think one of the things I'm still trying to figure out with this deck is the decks that have like bigger payoffs or ramp into like huge ships, and that's why I have the 2 No Good to Me Dead, the 2 Waylays, to deal with those. I mean, obviously the exhausting effects are great too, but sometimes those decks can be just too much power for us if we haven't been able to close the game out. But as I've made these changes that I have made, the 2 No Good to Me Dead and the 2 Waylay have been really, really impactful. So still trying to tweaking that out, but it has felt really, really good. even better than it did before, which is crazy to say. I mean, like I said, I feel like every single turn I'm exhausting something, which is just crazy as far as your, tempo and the advantage you're getting over your opponents. But definitely let me know how you guys have been building Django, or if there's any cards that maybe I should add in or consider. There's a couple other cards that I've been messing around with that are not on this list, and I'll show the images of those on the screen. But I really like where this deck is at right now. It feels amazing. But let's get into a few games so I can kind of show you how this updated Jango Tarkintown version feels. No mulligan. That was actually a mistake. I need to. I thought I saw something different when I did this. Yeah, I needed to mulligan. Wasn't much better, now was it? Um, well, looking at Dinger feels okay. I think No Good to Me Dead is better. Yeah, I think something like that. Just claim the initiative. Not sure why our opponent disconnected last time. Okay, we can just kill that with Starfighter. Daring Raid might be good, but No Good to Me Dead is better. So Starfighter here. He can ECL if he wants. It's totally fine. Get Tarkintown, the Grey Squadron, or whatever he ECLs with. Yep, there's the ECL. Sure. Well, that was nice. Sure. Sure. Okay. They can't. I don't know why they're undoing their action. All right, we're at 4 resources now. No Good to Me Dead's not bad. I really want to get a space unit down. I think Surprise Strike just needs to go. Is that the right play? Yeah, let's get a space unit with a shield down. Sure. Okay. We're at 5 resources here. That's a good one. I really like that card. We can attack in with 7 Fleet Defender first to exhaust. Sneak attack is nice as a way to come back and randomly attack in with like a Ruthless Raider even this turn, potentially, which we could even do right off gate. It does get defeated though. We haven't done any damage yet, so it's not like my favorite play. I think I'd rather just have No Good to Me Dead ready for Luke and 4-drop with the IG. I don't know. There's a lot going on here. A lot to decide. We're just trying to figure out what to do with a lot of different things here. Okay, red lit. Um, let's let's IG is really something we want to do when this is deployed. Okay, he's taking the initiative. That's fine. We can No Good to Me Dead the red leader, and then No Good to Me Dead Luke next turn with the IG. Okay, Dengar's not bad. Surprise Strike's not bad. But I think I'd rather have the Surprise Strike at this point than the Dengar. Okay, sure. So we just ping Well, actually, we can kill the Ruthless Raider here. Because he's not going to want to play Luke onto... Well, he can't play it on there. You can play it on Red Leader, but we have the... Let's just do this and kill that. Seems like a good idea. You can always attack into Luke, too. Not too worried about taking some damage from Luke, since we are winning 8-0. We still have the IG next turn. Okay, so yeah, IG is nuts here. Love this card. IG is stupid good. In this situation. One, yes, one, yes, one, yes. Let's go face. Let's go Jango here. Okay, what did he just play? A red 3. Uh, surprise strike for 7. Or no good to me dead, the red leader. I think that's more advantageous. It's just no good to me dead on the red leader. Because we don't want to deal with Luke. Go face, pass. Lots of good stuff here. So much good stuff. How close are we to winning? We could win this turn, right? Yeah, if we get a surprise strike off. I don't think we need the gorilla. Doesn't really do much for us here. We can play Fet's Fire Spray. Okay, he's putting a Chewbacca on Alliance Wing. So because we're just going to arena dodge, we're just going to surprise strike with Ruthless Raider. And then attack in with Jango, and we just win the game. And there's nothing he could do. Good game. That was a good one. I definitely think Jango got even better. This is a very good example of why. Our opponent just, I mean, that IG turn, the IG 2000, when Jango's deployed, that was insane. That literally won us the game, hands down. So, good game, good game. Okay. What are we doing? I think we're letting go of... I mean, Gorilla lets us Tarkintown something or just attack in. Surprise Strike is good. Dark Raid is good. So we gotta choose between the Fleet Defender and the Gorilla. Okay, I'm gonna let the Gorilla go because we're playing 2 Stormtroopers. And then I'm gonna let Surprise Strike go, maybe. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Okay, that's a good draw. The IG is going to be very good in this game. Probably gonna have to wait till resource 5 resource turn when Jango's out so we can maximize its effectiveness. Okay, sure. Going for 3. See what he does. If that takes any damage, we're going to Tarkintown his unit. Okay, sure. I will absolutely Tarkintown. Oh, whoops. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. I want to Tarkintown first, and then attack. Just slow down, man. Slow down. Get in for 3 or 2. We'll see what he does. Probably takes 1 to his Green Squadron, maybe. Okay. Get our shielded unit down. Pass. Surprise strike is a good find here. We could also daring raid his pinged unit. So many good cards. It's very difficult to decide. I mean, I think this is a good surprise strike turn, right? But I definitely don't want to get rid of this, and I definitely don't want to get rid of that. So if the only thing we're doing is daring raiding, I think daring raid is the odd man out here. Okay. I mean, we can kill that with the fleet defender, right? Or get in for 6, go to 11. Let's just do this first. Okay, if he ECLs the Stormtrooper, it's fine. Okay. I don't know what he's trying to do here. Okay, he didn't ECL. Yeah, we have such a good next turn with our IG, right? So we can just come in and kill things. We could attack into his fighter and ping it as well, or we could just surprise strike his face for 5. I think we're just gonna do that. Get in for 5. Swing in with Fleet Defender. Go to 15 to push the damage. And then next turn, we're going to flip and claim. Or flip and then immediately play IG, right? Okay, he killed one of those, which is interesting. Do you want to just attack in with the Stormtrooper first? Or flip Jango? I mean, there's definitely a strong possibility that he has a Poe that he's been saving to kill our Jango. I think Geonosis is pretty solid here too. Let's get in with the Trooper first to get in for damage. Just because they're probably going to target it. Keep trying to push. I think Rebel Assault. Yeah, we'll definitely use that to exhaust Sabine. If we can get to 23 this turn. Okay, he's going face. I think at this point in time, we've already exhausted, so let's just see if he ECLs or not. Yep, there's the Poe as expected, which is fine. We can still, we can play Geonosis and send fighters back. Problem is, now he has Poe here. We could kill 2 different things with IG, which isn't bad. We still have Triple Dark Raid as an option here too, with like a Ruthless Raider turn. I think we could still potentially win this turn. Okay, let's just Ruthless Raider. Yep. That'll do it. That'll do it. Does it matter? I don't think so. Does not. It does not matter. Yeah, good game, good game. So the Triple Dark Raid for the win. It's a good one. Yeah, this deck is sweet. I think where it might potentially struggle with is like where there's like the bigger spaceship decks that are coming in. So that's kind of I think against the aggro decks, this deck is fire. Just being able to exhaust everything constantly. Um, but some of those decks that get to like really really big spaceships, like 9 powered units that are just destroy our Tarkintown, and that we can't remove with Tarkintown. I mean, no good to be dead is definitely important. I think Waylay might be a card that I have to consider in the main board for those types of decks, but it feels great against aggro. All right, would we like to mulligan? No. I like our hand. So we're going to keep Gorilla and our Stormtrooper and Daring Raid. Then we're going to go. I think we're dropping Sneak Attack. I really want to hold on to the IG against them. No Good to Me Dead is solid too. So, I mean, we're choosing between a No Good to Me Dead or IG. IG basically exhaust 3 things in 1 turn is pretty nuts. No Good to Me Dead is great too, but I want to put pressure on them too because they're aggressive as well. So I think the IG turn though with Jango out is just nuts. You know, you know what I mean. See what they do here. Okay. Well, that was easy. So we don't even have to Tarkintown this turn, which is fine. Fet's Fire Spray is a ways out. Geonosis is actually pretty good here. Okay. So we can attack in, see what he does. We know he can't attach Poe to a red 3. So he did not take any damage. If he takes it all into his base, I mean, puts him in a pretty awkward situation where we get a really big head start with Gorilla. Either we Tarkentown it, or he takes 3 to his face and he takes 2 more. So it gives us a big lead. Surprise Strike is great. Yeah, they don't become a leader, so Waylay just sends Pilot back to his hand. Ruthless Raider will finish things off, but we can Geonosis. I'm not sure. Do we need Surprise Strike? Basically, we're choosing between. I mean, there's a multitude of things we could choose between here. As much as I. Okay, we take our 3. Let's go in with Stormtrooper and let him decide what he wants to do again. He wants to ECL something here, probably. Okay, no ECL. Interesting. Geonosis sends back red 3. Surprise Strike gets us to 16. We could exploit 2, but that's not that great. Surprise Strike to 16 feels pretty strong, but he can um, overwhelm our Stormtrooper here. We could also just attack into K2SO and then Tarkintown it, and then play Geonosis. Okay, there's a lot of options here. Also, just IG here is pretty good because we can just ping 2 units and Tarkintown one. I think that's the best choice, actually. Makes it easy, right? Okay. God, IG is good. IG is so good. You're so good, IG. You're so good. Let's just Tarkintown, our boy. Pass. All right, we'll let the Kylo go. Jango continues to be very good against other aggro decks in the aggro mirror. So is he? So we have a multitude of options. Okay, Poe is going to kill Stormtrooper and the Gorilla, which is fine. He wants us to discard a card? That's interesting. Deal 2 damage to a unit and discard a card from our hand? Okay. Um, is that what he meant to do? Okay, I guess so. Um, Geonosis? So we're swinging in for 9 here to get to 22. Geonosis just exhausts red 3 or Poe, which is fine. I guess it's gives it what? +2/+1. Yeah, I don't really want to use the Geonosis this turn, so yeah, can exhaust that. Um so go in for 3. Not worried about red 3 right now. Okay. Then we play the Desk Skirmisher, which is nuts. We can exhaust 2 different things at once. Then we flip this. Get up to 22. And then there is no way he can beat us. Look at that, we have the IG. Oh my god. IG. How much I love that card in this deck. It's nutty. It's so good. So is this card because you saw there, like, do a damage, activate Jango's ability, then play this card and exhaust another thing. And then obviously this card, this turn, we're just gonna exhaust everything on the board. And he's already ECL'd, so. And our opponent disconnected. So, but yeah, so I mean, either way, we were just going to attack in here. But another cool thing that we could have done is play a second copy of this. It's just so cool too that you can use the Triple Dark Raid to find this card to exhaust everything on the board and then attack in with it. That just seems disgusting. So I mean, that's one of your best bets. I did add the waylays because I feel like it's necessary against decks that have bigger units to deal with, so we can kind of slow them down. They spend all the resources on one card. All right, no mulligan here. Pretty aggressive start for us. So I think we're getting rid of 1 Stormtrooper, and then we're choosing between Dark Raid or Surprise Strike. Uh, both are really good. I mean, I definitely want to get something down as far as a unit goes on turn 2. I think the way I look at Surprise Strike versus Triple Dark Raid is they're essentially like similar for what we're trying to accomplish. Like they're things that help us close the game out. Okay. Ruthless Raider is a ways off. We could always play Kai Silencer next turn to continue to put pressure. I think we're trying to find a ruthless. Ouch. Well, that hurts, doesn't it? That was definitely one of the worst cards they could have drawn against our board state because they can just kill us without doing anything. I think because of that, we have to just attack into this thing because it's just going to keep trading with our units favorably. So we might as well just Tarkintown it and take it out. Okay. Yeah, a shielded unit's good here. That's a good draw. The Space Skirmisher. It's a very good draw here. I like the Gorilla because the Gorilla puts them in an awkward situation where we can put more pressure on them. Space Skirmisher is so good in this deck. If he doesn't attack in with Sabine right here, we're just going to Tarkintown it. Okay. Trying to think if I want to go face here. I think I want to present the option that we might Tarkintown either one. Well, that's a pretty good find, wasn't it? Hmm. Talk about drawing the perfect cards. Just, it's kind of definitely our opponent has had everything they needed to deal with what we had. So we presented with a very aggressive start, but then Sabine is like the perfect card to deal with that start. Okay. All right, ISB agent is not bad. This is a 0 token that we could Geonosis back. That's pretty good. ISB agent can kill Sabine. Okay. Okay, he went face. Just kill Sabine. Get that out of here. He is not ECL'd yet. Okay. We can send back this. We're not going to do that yet. We're going to deploy Jango right now so we can attack into Poe and exhaust it. Okay, he attached his Poe. Okay. That's fine. Created another token. We can double attack into this 5/5 and then Geonosis this one back to leave him with a 2/2 on board. He could still deploy this if he gets attached. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty. We can also just attack in for 9 here, which I think is pretty strong. So let's just do that. I think the card that we're worried about next turn is Rebel Assault. But, I mean, we're getting rid of the X-Wing here in a second. So, we have Triple Dark Raid for next turn to help us close the game out. Nice. No good to me dead's not bad. Neither is the skirmisher. I think we're keeping our hand, not resourcing anything here. See what our opponent does. We're in good shape. We're representing 12 damage on board with a triple dark raid. We have the no good to me dead for the 5/5. See what he does. He's playing a. Okay, he's attacking with the red leader too. Okay. So he's going the defensive route. He still has not ECL'd, so that's something to think about. He could have Poe this turn. He's gonna have to ECL if we play the skirmisher. Okay, so we force him to ECL, that's fine. Because we don't want him to trade with our space unit with that cheap unit that he played for free, essentially, when he played an upgrade on Red Leader. So we're forcing him to ECL here. Okay. To take out one of our space units, I assume. Okay. Sure. Okay, he's deciding which one he wants to attack. Sure. Okay. Cool. He could have an ambush unit in space with the blue leader. Okay, he did not. So we're at 18. And then we can no good to me dead the 5/5. Pass. Nice. Fet's fire spray is huge. So we'll let go of our 7th defender here since we drew the fire spray. Force him to trade in space again. If he takes an action. Okay, so he's moving Poe over there. That is totally fine because we are in a place to close this out. Sure. Alright, we're at 24. If we triple dark raid and find a Ruthless Raider, we win. Or we just, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard for him to take the Fet's fire spray, so let's just go that route first. Eject. Okay. Yeah. Good game. That was a good one. So just another example. I mean, Poe ECL is one of the best aggro decks. I just think Jango right now is the aggro killer. Like, it's just insane. I think what I'm working on figuring out is how to make Jango better against decks with bigger space units and bigger payoffs, with a combination of, cards like the Death Space Skirmisher, the No Good to Me Dead, Waylays, Planetary Bombardment are things that I'm using. Obviously, being aggressive is one of our best bets against them, but sometimes we don't always get off to the fastest starts, or our opponent has restore, or they have good pieces of removal. So that's kind of the one area that I'm still working out with this list, and I think that'll just take a little bit of time. But as far as dealing with aggro decks, I mean, these 4 examples that I just gave you today just really show, like, Jango is just insanely good against aggro decks. Just being able to constantly exhaust them while putting on a bunch of pressure and being able to exhaust in multiple different ways. I feel like I exhaust something almost every turn with this deck. Now, because of the Death Space Skirmisher, you combine that like with the damage that you're putting out, and then you're adding in the IG 2000, which is just absolutely insane when, especially when Jango's deployed. I mean, to be able to just exhaust 3 units with one action is incredibly powerful, as you got to see in that earlier game. Um, and then of course, we're still using like Fet's Fire Spray and Ruthless Raider to close the game out. And Triple Dark Raid is still insane. And then, of course, now we get to add in Planetary Bombardment as well. The Deaths, the First Order Stormtrooper is another really, really good card for this deck because if left unattended, it puts pressure on our opponent. Obviously, because we're getting in for 3 every turn. When it dies, it does an indirect damage. It also really sets up our Tarkintown. It's really, really nice for that. And just being able to do it so cheaply, of course. And of course, it's still a good surprise strike target. Another really, really sweet addition is the Guerrilla Soldier, which I have found to be incredibly good in here because basically it's either exhausting a unit when it's played and still being able to attack in. Or if there's no units on board, like the reason I play 3 copies of this is because a lot of times what happens is I'm Tarkintowning on turn 2, and then I'm killing whatever unit they had, and maybe both the units that they've tried to play in the first 2 turns are gone because maybe I killed the first unit and the ECL the second unit. So then I get to play Guerrilla Soldier, for free, essentially without any interruption. So I get in for 5 damage. So anytime there's an empty board, it's just an automatic way to get in for 5 damage. It's great against after your opponents use their removal, just anything where your opponent's tapped out, you just play this Guerrilla Soldier and just get in for 5 damage. Just a really, really sweet card, and it's fun to use. And again, it's another way to activate Tarkintown. This deck got even more fun, and I think it got even better with this set. So, but yeah, let me know what your thoughts are, or maybe cards that you would add or do differently than the list that that I posted in the video. But I'll show you kind of where I ended up with the list here, and just kind of do a post game wrap up real quick.